You watch these videos online of people giving speeches, and you see them run up on stage, and you think you can do it as well. I thought I was going to run today, but I'm very sorry. Okay, to summarize, I look after Google's startup ecosystem on the continent, and my general background is in information systems, data analysis, business analysis, and a bunch of other things. What I'd like to talk to you today about is entrepreneurship, right? And some AI. I'm going to sprinkle AI in there, here and there, but it's mostly about you being an entrepreneur. Okay, so to kick things off, if you believe everyone should be a developer, hands up. Everyone is a developer. If you believe this, raise your hand. I'm not going to say why. I won't call you out and ask you why if you don't believe. But I know a lot of people have this belief, right, that everyone should be a developer. Everyone should consider creating something, even if it's not, I guess, being a software developer. It could be many other things. Well, and I know that this room also has different kinds of developers and students. If you're a freelancer, anyone? Let's use sound so we can get the energy up. If you're a freelancer, say whoo. If you're an in-house or corporate developer, say whoo. Let's see who are the most. If you're a contractor, okay, not so many. And then if you're a startup developer working for a startup, okay. For the last one, if you're unsure of what you are or what the next thing is, okay, I'm actually very happy to hear that. Otherwise, I'd have just gone. So I think everyone should be an entrepreneur. And I also think that for all of you that are developing or thinking about what the next thing is, yesterday, in fact, was the best time for you to create something. And I'm very happy to actually be coming after Odun and coming after Olu, who spoke about PiggyVest and spoke about Google's work on the continent. Now, where we are right now is we're in the AI era, artificial intelligence. You hear that all the time. But what does it mean for you as a developer? You've heard words like vibe coding already today, yes? You've heard that, okay, you should connect with people, you should solve problems that you are also facing and your community is facing, yes? Yes? But you see that, and you can do this much faster now thanks to AI. So what I'm going to talk you through is what it means to go from being a developer to being an entrepreneur or to being a founder in four simple steps, very, very simple steps. I would run through each of them. The first one exactly is identifying the problem that you're passionate to solve. Like Odun said, love your problem, right? I think that's something like that, right? Second thing is leverage the skills you have, right, to build an MVP, a prototype, something, if anything. The third thing is understand that you are not perfect and you don't know everything. So you find people that have similar values, similar passions to come on this same journey with you and support you either as leads or as co-founders or maybe as investors. And the last thing is to take a risk, take a bet, throw your product into the wild, right, and get feedback, which is part of what Odun was saying as well with connecting empathetically. So, first one, opportunities. Also, last thing is we're going to take this from an AI point of view as well. So thinking about how to leverage AI to build the solutions. The first thing is spotting opportunities. Is there anybody here that doesn't have any problems? I thought the religious answer, by God's grace, we don't have any problems. By God's grace. But when you think about whether it's how you make your payments every day, whether it's how you pay your bills, whether it's how you buy your medication, whether it's how you learn online, whether it's, you name it, whatever challenges there are. Somebody throw it, actually, anybody in the room, shout one problem that you face every day or every other day. Anybody? Traffic. Right? Or anybody else, whether it's traffic, you spend too much money. You just listen to PiggyVest, so I think that can be. Anyone else? Pardon? Network instability, health problems. You see, these are many problems that people highlight Every day, you face it every day. And if you think about it, that is usually the starting point for people that are building things. So if it's about spending too much, you have platforms now that help you save. They help you optimize your spending. They advise you on all the rest. If it's healthcare problems, you have platforms that help you, whether it's get last mile delivery of medicine or get telehealth, so healthcare advisory, consultation virtually, you name it. If it's traffic, you have Google Maps that tells you which routes to pass, right? And avoid some traffic or to sit at home, if anything. And you, whatever the issue is, right? But for those challenges that you think you are still facing every day and haven't solved, part of the biggest of things that you have, your onus is also to solve that problem, right? So you face a problem, you have, I think, 2,000 people in the room today. Try out something. If you face any problem, speak to other people in the room today and ask them, oh, what are your thoughts on this problem? Are you experiencing anything with this problem as well? Ask questions and get feedback from them, right? If 2, 5, 10, 50, 100 people have similar problems, then maybe something can be built to solve that, right? And if they also say something like, oh, this is how I am addressing this problem right now, and it doesn't sound like it's a good solution, think about how you can solve for it. So the first thing is spotting a similar opportunity or a problem that people like yourself, your community, people directly close to you are facing, and thinking about how else to solve the problem. Now, the next thing is building a solution, right? But before, I know as developers, you just like to get a laptop and smash the laptop and do all your code, and everything is green, the screen is green, it's all meant code lines and all of that. Before you do that, you hold on. Before you do that, you do research, right? To see, has anyone else solved this problem across the world? If they've solved it, how are they solving it? If they haven't solved, or if they've solved this, how else can they solve it, right? And as you do research on this, the next thing you think about is, okay, how do I want to also solve this, right? And what do? Then you don't have to spend, historically, we spend maybe a couple of weeks building things, even MVPs. You don't have to do that anymore. You have the likes of Gemini, whether it's Lovable, I don't mention competitors or whatever, Base 44, and many other people, you have them, right, to build MVPs on. You go in, they said vibe coding, right? You go in, type a prompt in, let it build something out, right? You don't need to spend, the good part about AI is you no longer need to spend 100 hours, 200 hours building, right? We experiment and we fail fast, we fail forward. So build out a prototype, a minimum viable product, and you start to roll it out. As you build it out, the next thing you do is leverage the community. What that looks like is your developer groups, your friends, your family, people that said they have similar challenges. Show them that prototype, show them that MVP, ask them to play with it and use it. Get real feedback from them. Connect with people that have similar challenges, right? As they give you feedback, you go back there and you iterate and you iterate and you iterate. And before you know it, you have something like a proper version 1, something that you can actually ship into the market, right? Are we following? Also, the last thing on this is actually perfection is the enemy of progress. So don't feel like you have to tweak the prompt. You have to keep on editing this MVP, this version 0.001, until you have a perfect product, right? It's never about the product you're building. It's about the problem you're solving, right? So, in fact, I give an example before we go along, right? What example do I have? I don't know. I give an example before we go along. For solving the problem and not about building the product. If it's about solving the problem, people say, oh, I give an example. Let me think of an example. Traffic. I think someone said traffic earlier, right? Should we use that problem or any other problem? What to eat? Okay, maybe that's easier. Okay, okay. So you can't, every day you're hungry. At least there's money, but you can't decide on what to eat. That's a very nice problem to have. You know, it's a problem I face every day as well. Actually, what do? You think, okay, the first thing to do, you do research on what exists to help you decide. There's Mano, there's all these different Uber Eats, there's many different platforms to check on what to eat, but they don't necessarily recommend what to eat for you, right? They just show you different businesses that are offering food, right? Different restaurants and the rest, but they don't tell you what exactly to eat. And the platforms don't know you to know what you like to eat, right? Is anybody else facing this problem? Which is, what do we do first? We start from research. Anyone else facing this problem? You can also say no if you don't face the problem. Anyone else facing the problem? Okay, so we've done research to say, you know what? People also cannot decide on what to eat, right? What do? We go online and we do research. We can also use the likes of Gemini to say, oh, how are there any platforms that help me recommend food to eat every single day? I know what exactly I would like to eat every single day. If Gemini says yes, you do further research to see how they're solving that. If it says no, you say, you know what? I'm going to create this, right? What do? Prompt again. It's vibe coding, I guess. I actually don't like that word, vibe coding. You go in and you type in a prompt, create a platform that understands who I am as a person, knows what I like to eat, understands my allergies, right? And recommends food for me to eat within Lagos or within whatever location I am in every single day, right? And you go in and create that platform or prototype, right? Now, you don't need to start thinking about, okay, now let's ship this, let's go all around. Some people in the room, for example, said yes, they have that same issue, right? So what do? You identify those people and you go and meet each of them and say, oh, hey, here is this platform. What are your thoughts on it? I'd like you to play around with this. I'd like you to try and use it to order something, right? Would you use this platform? Would you download this platform normally, right? If they say yes, great, but that's not enough. If they say, oh, I would like it to operate this way, you test their feedback and you decide on how to iterate. And you continue to iterate and iterate and iterate until you have a very wonderful product. The biggest of things is ensuring that you don't spend too much time building the first versions before getting feedback, right? Because once you lose people the first time, it's very hard to get their attention again, especially as you're building platforms or applications, right? And to test this, I have a usual test I do to prove that if you lose them once, it's hard to get them back. Should we do the test? Okay, so show of hands. Okay, no, actually answer. How many apps do you download every single day? Everybody, how many apps? Shout it, shout the answer. Zero. Shout it louder, don't be scared. Every day, 0. How many apps do you download every week? 0. Maybe one person is saying 1 or 2. So let's pack that person. 0, right? How many apps do you download a month? 1. I'm hearing maybe 1. Maybe 1. Maybe. How many apps do you download a month? Let's think properly about it. So let's go maybe 1, right? If you think about that, that means every year you should have about 12 new apps or less on your phone, correct? Now, as you're building and solving a problem, what makes you think that app that you've built is going to be one of 12 that people are downloading every year, right? What makes you think the app you've built, will be one of the few apps that people download every year? Do you understand? It's a very difficult thing to get into that, be one of those 12 apps that people download every year. So if you're going to become one of them, you have to ensure that you're solving a very big problem, right? And you do that by connecting with them and getting feedback, right? That's a simple test. Now, what I wrote here. Okay, so we have an idea of what it means now to build products and solve problems, right? But for those that have already built products and are building products, whether it's as a startup developer or already have platforms that they've built, there's other ways they can actually leverage AI. And that's, I guess, future opportunities, or in fact, even for those that are thinking about how to build, right? One example is whether you can use the AI to create content and products. Another way is, again, if you've already built, it's automating tasks, right? They say, if AI can save you a couple of hours, couple of days, right? And you're competing against people that are using AI, you are doing yourself a disservice if you are not leveraging AI. And those people will outperform you because they're going to save money, save time, and that time that they're saving will be spent on attracting more customers and generating more revenue. So figure out ways to leverage AI to automate your tasks. Another aspect that you can leverage it this way is for collaboration, between colleagues, right? Whether it's for feedback loops and feedback systems and much more. And the last one, actually more of an example of how you think about building different things, is like personalized healthcare, personalized solutions across different verticals and different spaces, if anything. I can skip this actually. So we've spoken about identifying the problem and then building an MVP, right? The next two things, again, remember, we are not perfect and we only know so much, right? So we know that we know how to code. What don't we know how to do? Probably the other aspects of business, probably finances, probably sales or other things, right? But we know that other people have similar passions, similar values, and they would like to go on a journey like this as well. What you do is you shop around, and you look for someone with similar passion, right? And you build your product with them. That looks like a co-founder, right? You find a co-founder or other people that would lead different aspects of the business, right? Because you cannot do everything on your own, right? After you find those people, you start to look for people that also believe in you as a person and then believe in the product and the business and let them give you the first investment so that to soften the journey as a founder, right? Go through that, and then you're ready to launch. It's time to put your product out in the market and experiment with real users. By then, we're saying, you know what? I've gotten enough feedback from people. Now, I actually know what the problem is, and I'm solving the problem to the best of our ability at this point in time, and I know that I will retain their attention, and I know that they'll probably pay money for it. If not now, then at some point, right? Then we're happy to go into the market. And again, by the way, it's not just about going into the market and watching and leaving it. It's going into the market with your product and understanding how people use your product, right? Understanding what keeps their attention, why they're going back or not going back, right? Why they're spending that amount or are not spending that amount. If they would spend more or would spend less if you reduce the amount. You pay attention to these things and you continue to iterate and iterate, right? Already building. Again, I think I spoke about this already. Just automating repetitive tasks, and enhancing your consumer experience or your sales cycle, or you name it, right? Getting deeper insights from the data you're already collecting and much more. It's very straightforward for this. And for those of you that have then said, you know what, I have built a wonderful product, right? I've built a good product. I have real life users. People are paying money for this product, if anything. When you're ready, you come to me and you say, hey, Folarin, I met you this day or whatever, and you said you should apply to our program. We're ready to go through an accelerator program now, right? And we think Google is the right one for us. You applied to the Google for Startups Accelerator Africa program. Odun actually went through that program with PiggyVest, PiggyBank back then, many years ago. And they're a wonderful product of our program. You apply to our program, and we take you through many things, right? So the program itself is a 3-month program that runs you through. Someone is going to talk to me. Sorry. It's a 3-month program that runs you through mentorship, training, workshops, and much more. From what I would like to say is we give you the best of Google in terms of our people, our methodologies, and our advanced technologies, right? We take you through 3 months of, again, finding and refining, rinsing and repeating, shredding and bringing back together on tech, product, design, finances, operations, data, legal, compliance, fundraising, growth, marketing, you name it, a lot of things, right? And after that, you go into the wild and you do amazing things. The program itself, I've said this already, we connect you to the best of Google, but the program itself to date has almost 2,000 alumni globally, right, from across 85 countries with over 500 mentors and 40 Google teams that help you. Think of it this way, right? We're in the business of making people successful and helping people, if anything. So you come onto the program and we work with you to help you scale, to help you refine your products, refine your team, and then help you scale, right? And we have proof of that. Our proof is in not just the programs we've run, but our proof is in the numbers, right? We have 19 unicorns and 1 decacorn that have gone through our program, right? Our startups have a collective valuation of about $26 billion, right? In Africa alone, I think you saw earlier, it's actually over $400 million that our startups have raised, right? And they've created over 3,500 jobs, right? So we have a very nice, attractive pool of alumni. So why don't you apply and become one of those alumni that do us proud? Again, we take you through a journey of workshops and training on tech, UX, UI, and design, business and growth, fundraising, PR, marketing, and many more things. It's a buffet. So you know how you go to a buffet, you have rice, chicken, indomie, pasta, different beans, everything you like, right? That's like our program as well. It's just not food, it's content. And you pick the ones that are most relevant and applicable to you, and we double down on that. Or you experiment with the things that you're not familiar with, and we help you understand those things, and you grow with them, right? And after that, you go into the wild, and you do amazing things. You solve problems for your community, you solve problems for yourself first, and then your community, and then your state, and then your country, and then your continent, and then the rest of the world. And you build more things. And thank you.
Now, my question is, you found the problem. You did a prototype. You know, sometimes prototype is just like a mimic of what is going to happen. It's not yet done. So, and the problem, like those you seek the problem from, how are you going to show them prototype, okay, this is still shitting now. It's not yet there. Are you not going to be discouraged about that?
Okay, I love the question. It shows we are following. Thank you. He asked the question about prototyping and sharing the prototype with users, right? And ensuring that you don't lose them while you're still sharing and still iterating, correct? Now, remember we said at the beginning was that you first start with research and you identify people that have similar issues, similar challenges, right? And would probably pay money for that solution, correct? Right? What that looks like is focus groups, roundtables, focus groups, small clusters of people. It looks like maybe even WhatsApp groups of people in there giving you advice. It looks like many things, right? It doesn't even have to be live yet. So this is you're in beta testing. You're testing with, I guess, your friends and family and maybe enemies that don't want you to. In fact, don't only test with enemies, in fact. Let them give you the real feedback. Let them give you the harsh feedback, right? Test with everybody, but you don't need to go public yet with it. So in this stage, you're not necessarily exposing yourself to losing real users. In this phase, you're getting feedback from people that say they have that problem. Honest feedback from people that have that same problem. When you get that, then you iterate further before you go into the wild, right? So think about it again, is process. So research, close testing from, again, also not just friends and family and people that have the same problem. Test with experts as well, by the way. You can test with myself, test with similar people, experts, you have senior devs that are building similar things, test with senior people as well, right? So they can give you real feedback based on their own experience, right? Then you plan to ship, to go live, and then you have real users giving you feedback. The biggest of things is, you know how they say, if you can drive in Lagos, you can drive anywhere. If you can survive in Lagos, you can survive anywhere, right? If you can survive real, true, candid, honest feedback from certain kinds of people before you go live, when you go live, nothing will faze you, or not as many things will faze you, right? So you keep it closed with feedback, and then you go public. Thank you. I think that was it.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I am Tim Tokwe. My question is there a need to only solve problems that are unique, or is there a place for, repeating? I know we have this don't repeat yourself, but sometimes ideas are like, at the end of the day, they kind of boil down to common baseline. So is there a need to always find that uniqueness, so we can actually see, okay, I like what this company is doing, and I want to do that too? Thank you.
Thank you. I have two answers to that question, but I think I'll stick to one today. Is there a need to solve unique problems or stick to... My answer for today is this, right? And I might change my answer tomorrow. I'm sorry. My answer for today is this, right? So first thing is solve problems, right? I'll give an example. Actually, we had the last speaker, PiggyVest Odun, right? There's 100 ways to save. You can save money under your bed. You can save money in your closet. You can save money in a bank. You can put that money to investments with a mutual fund. You can put it to investments on the stock market. You can put it in the likes of PiggyVest that help you do different opportunities like that. There's many, you can lend your money out, right, and get returns later. And that's another way to save. There's many ways to save, right? Save money. But you decide on, but people are still building, in fact, right? Other ways for people to save money, right? What that looks like is, whether, for example, with PiggyVest now, what that looks like is you go on PiggyVest, you have either automated top-ups of your PiggyVest wallet, or your PiggyVest, sorry, your piggy bank, I guess, right? You have that. You have automated ones. You have the more manual ones. Maybe every month you go and put in X amount after you get a salary, for example. But in other parts of the world, we're also seeing something called roundup, where you spend an amount of money on your account and the thing rounds up. If you spend, for example, you round up to the nearest 1,000, so you spend 800 naira, it will round up that 200 naira into your savings. There's roundup systems, and there's many other systems of saving, right? So again, as long as you're solving problems, when you solve, think about certain things. Think about, who am I solving for? Are these people already being solved for, right? If yes, how are they being solved for, right? And when you answer that question, is the way they're being solved for the most optimal way for this solution to be solved, right? So keep asking these questions and checking, right? If it's the most optimal way, is it the most attractive way, if anything? Is it the most user-friendly way, right? And you keep asking these things. And when you find an answer, the final answer of, okay, I'm not going to do it any differently to what exists, then, you know what, leave it. If you think about how differently you're going to do it from people who are already doing it, and people say they want it that way, mind you, don't just get excited and build whatever. Let people confirm that they want you to build that other way, then consider building in that same space. There's many saving platforms, there's many fintech platforms for payments, there's many healthcare platforms, but you know what? There's never enough, right? If anything. The people keep saying, you know how we've said, for many years now, in Nigeria, for example, we've said we're banking the unbanked, right? Banking the unbanked, right? But most of these platforms are in English, right? Most of our parents don't speak English. Our grandparents don't speak English, right? So are we really banking the unbanked? Do you understand? In other remote areas, they don't speak English. So if we're banking the unbanked, how come they are not using it, right? If we're banking the unbanked, how come it's a mobile app, right? When people have feature phones, right? If you're banking the unbanked, why is it not USSD, right? If you're banking the unbanked, right, how else are we connecting with them, right? Do you understand? So think about it that way, and then you decide on how or what you want to build. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.